All right. What's up, guys? This is Story Analysis. I am Pierre,
And I'm Chris.
and today we will be moving forward in this poetry journey. And this is one of the what is this like? One of the dark themes? Yes, depression. Uh, sure, something that a lot of people can relate to. There's, I feel like most of us, yeah, at some point in our lives, it is a feeling, a stage that we have to get through, which requires a lot of things, which requires strong support system and lots of mental strength to push through because life doesn't stop and there's a bunch of things we got to do. So yeah, depression. Um, Christian, what do you want to say about depression? Before we
Yeah,
move
so
on.
I'm no stranger to the idea of depression. As you know, Pierre, and others may not. I've been
Yeah.
suffering with chronic congestion for the past 4 years. So not being able to breathe properly has a cascading effect that ends in me not being able to think clearly sometimes. And it's the worst condition I've ever dealt with, especially since it sabotages the one tool I have to deal with depression, which is the ability to rein in my thoughts and control my perceptions. But in general, depression, it can be hard for people to think and categorize their thoughts while they're depressed. So poets and poems can give form to whatever your personal demons are in a way that's easy to process them. So the theme of depression when it comes to poetry, I think, can be beneficial in that sense because it helps you digest what you're dealing with.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. And he's not lying. I literally uh I can't say I'm like directly in this journey like with him, but every now and then, like he opens up, gives you glimpses of a day in his life with this condition, and it's fucking yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I actually it's crazy, man. I told you the other day, right? I don't remember the text. I was driving. I was like, I can't wait to fuck. I can't wait to what did I tell you? I can't wait to have floor seats to your you progressing in life. This
Yeah,
game of life. Fuck.
it was a
Yeah, so
very it was a very kind message. You said, "I'm
keep
glad I
just
have floor seats to so that I can say I could
I
see you
got to watch
rise
you
whenever."
progress. Yes, through this game
Yeah.
of life. I thought back about this. That's actually a double entendre too, because like floor seats at a basketball game, the game of life. I have floor seats, but at the same time, I get to watch from up close you battling depression and this chronic disease and life, basically, because a lot of shit get thrown at us.
See, this is
Um,
why I said you need to write a poem, and then I'll dissect it at the end. Because look at
mm.
you, out of nowhere, just within the span of like a
uh,
minute.
with the spam, yeah. After I sent that, I was like, "Oh shit, that is a double entendre. It's insane." But yeah, man, it's crazy shit. It's tough. It's a very touchy subject, and these poets, right? They display that very well. They use the words they use, like the way they go about conveying it. It hits deep for people that can relate, which I already said most of us can. So this will be Depression Part One, and the two poets that we're going to look at are Rudy Francisco and Reagan Myers. Now, when I first heard her, that's the second poem, Reagan Myers. I didn't know how to pronounce her name. I still don't know if I'm doing this right because I even like looked up interviews if she have interviews. All I saw on YouTube was just all of her poems. So hopefully her name is pronounced Reagan. Do you think it'll be Regan? I really don't know. I do not know.
Yeah, I think Reagan is more popular, so
Okay. 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 All right.
yeah,
For the sake of popularity, it's a numbers game. We'll go by Reagan.
yeah,
Reagan.
Reagan.
Jesus. Okay, cool. Go by that. Anyway, a very talented poet. So let's start with Rudy, like we said. When people ask how I'm doing, Rudy Francisco. And because this is less than a minute, we'll just run through it and then give our thoughts later.
Yep. And we'll leave a link to the original in the description of the podcast and the YouTube video. So make sure to go check that out first and then come back. All right. Ready?
All right. Yep.
Okay. Here we go.
When people ask how I'm doing, I want to say my depression is an angry deity, a jealous God, a thirsty shadow that wrings my joy like a dish rag and makes juice out of my smile. I want to say getting out of bed has become a magic trick and I'm probably the worst magician I know. I want to say this sadness is the only clean shirt I have left and my washing machine has been broken for months. But I'd rather not ruin someone's day with my tragic honesty. So instead, I treat my face like a pumpkin. I pretend it's Halloween. I carve it into something acceptable. I laugh and say, I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Very short.
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. And pungent and it's freaking powerful. Yeah. It's crazy, right? These poets don't even need time to get something across. Just, yeah, give me less
Yeah.
than a minute and I'll tell you in a few words exactly what depression feels like to me. So,
Yep. And I've
yeah,
said it before and I'll say it again. Like your
yeah.
ability, the ability to condense your thoughts in as little words as possible is a testament to your ability to
Hmm.
understand the subject matter that you're talking about. The shorter your words, the more you understand.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I think I said that in the first episode too. That's another reason why like I love poetry because it's you're limited and yet you're able to carry on with a theme or a concept or a story and make it make sense and not
Mm,
leave out like gaps because it's a whole like everything is connected and there's nothing that's like you feel that's left out. They have because they definitely have to curtail this to their liking. A poet who's writing a poem. There's definitely a rough draft of this was probably much longer, but to still
mm,
put something out short and cohesive and beautiful and structured, that is a talent indeed. Um, so let's get into Rudy's poem, right? He said his depression is an angry deity, a jealous god. So, like the just a concept of depression being a jealous god, as in like you need to be in this state, and like how dare you like be happy this morning? Like I need to keep you in this darkness, in this just terrible state as long as I can, and you're not allowed to get sidetracked or distracted with any other feelings, like love, joy. He mentioned joy, right? And like happiness, hope. No, no, we don't want these. Like we need you solely in the state. I need to be eating you as long as I can, and just me. Like you can't serve multiple gods. I'm just the only one. I'm jealous. it's
I like
it's
that.
it's crazy.
It's a nice extrapolation you just did there.
Yeah, no, it's some crazy shit, man. Like a thirsty shadow that wrings my joy like a dish rag and make juice out of my smile. Like the wordplay is beautiful. Like thirsty, like you need a beverage when you're thirsty. Like you're fucking, like you need a drink. But that wrings my joy, rings right. You're seeing it. It's like twisting it like a dish rag and make juice out of my smile. What happens when you twist a dish rag? You literally just twist it dry. Basically, you're taking away the juice out of it, taking away the on the depression stage, taking away the life out of you. It makes juice out of my smile. Because how do you make juice? You know, if you take an orange, for example, right? You have to like peel it and squeeze it to get the juice out of the fruit to go into the cup. So this whole like beautiful
Mm.
wordplay of thirsty, ring, dish rag, juice out of a smile is just such a potent way to just describe like what depression does to someone. It drains you, Christian. It's well, again, you already said it's something that you can testify to, so I don't have to say drains you, Christian. But yeah, like it's some fucking crazy shit, man. Um, wait, okay, before
Mm.
I keep going through all this thing, what do you want to say about these first two lines?
Yeah, it's well said on both Rudy's part and also your part. Um, so I guess for me, I'll dive into the phrase of "How are you doing," which is the title of Rudy's poem, and it serves as a foundation of everything he says. So the phrase "How are you doing?" it basically has three versions. There's the courteous version where it's used to acknowledge another person under the disguise of a question. So, for example, you're quickly passing by somebody and then they say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And then there's the icebreaker version. This one is an easy way to encourage conversation with somebody you don't know. So, if you're a cashier, um, or if you're at a cashier and you want to strike up a conversation, you'd say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And then there's the deep version, and this is one that is a very intentional way to ask the question, "How are you doing?" Typically, it's a longer conversation with those that you're close to, or something like a therapist. So I think Rudy's poem it puts a spotlight on the shallowness of the first type, the low key nature of the second type, and then the weightiness required of the third type. And it showcases how, if a depressed person is asked the courteous version, the intrinsic depth behind the meaning of the words, "How are you doing?" can force their pain to rise to the surface for a split second. Yet, for the sake of social norms, they have to swallow their response and give one that's acceptably shallow for the situation. And that split second social dance that the depressed person has to do, it can be uncomfortable. And of course, through his poem, Rudy pauses that dance and he points out the irony in the moves. So yeah, and then as Rudy typically does, he dresses it up with metaphors and analogies and other poetic devices to make his words sound very nice. And if I had to pick one favorite line from what he said, it's probably when he says, "I treat my face like a pumpkin and carve it into something acceptable." Again, of course, here he's talking about the mask that we all have to occasionally put on in social settings.
Hmm.
And I think that's something that we can all really resonate with.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, like not only right conformity to social norms is already something that we all involuntarily do because everybody wants to be not accepted, but like fit in. Yes, yeah, we want to fit into whatever groups we are like, hanging out with or we are thrown into. If it's a new job or you move into a new town or you move into a new school, but being depressed and having to mask that like takes so much. It's because this is
Mm,
a state that you're not in, and you don't want to reflect depression on people you just met or people you know. There are, I'd say, probably countless good friends who are depressed, but that stays and keeps it with themselves for the fear of being judged and the fear of like being singled out, the fear of being thrown out of the group chat or the friend group because hey, you're just a downer. Yet you're battling something that's hard that you need to put a mask over at the sake of other people's expense, which is so hard to do because you're not in that state. Pretending to be happy when you're not happy, that's that's work, man. That's
mm,
insane. And it's not genuine, which is even worse. So it needs to like it takes a lot to sell it because the depression is tough. Something that swallows you, like like Rudy says, like he's even something like getting out of bed, turn into a magic
mm,
trick, and he's the worst magician. Which getting out of bed, the literal sense is, waking up to go to just waking up from your bed. But at the same time, just to face your day, knowing that you're already at a loss because your mood is already at a negative state. And your whole body
mm,
don't want to go along with whatever's in your agenda that you need to get done that day. It's it's some crazy shit, man. Like the sadness, the only clean shirt I have left in my washing machine has been broken for months. Like
mm,
that's all I can wear, man. Yet at the end of the poem, he puts on the face. The only shirt I have, the only mood that I'm in, the only attitude, the only feeling that I've been stuck in is just depression. Yet I need to change that. And also the not consideration, because it kind of is, but we just mentioned the social norms, that nobody wants to be that guy or that girl, but I'd rather not ruin somebody else's day.
mm,
It's yeah. It's so sad that we live in a world that values conforming because it's just not values. Like you want to fit in. You don't want to be the only guy eating in the cafeteria, or you don't want to be like the only girl in the I don't know the bus that nobody sits next to. So for that reason, you need to bypass your own traumas, your own personal obstacles you're going through. so you can be likable to others. And it sucks that we don't live in a society that allows us to be like vulnerable enough to not do that extra hard step of masking what you're truly feeling. Because if we didn't, we would
Mm,
find out there's a ton of people dealing with depression that you could actually form a freaking group with, to help each other out to get through this. What do you call this? There was like AA meetings. They call the support groups. Yeah, crazy
mm,
shit, man. But I pretend it's Halloween. I carve it into something acceptable. I laugh and I say, "I'm doing all right," while you're dying
mm.
inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's intense. It's intense.
it's crazy shit. But yeah, Rudy does it again. This is like the third poem from Rudy, right? We did Heart and Fist
Yeah,
and
third one.
Complainers for the positive outlook, and now we're doing this for depression. Um, what else do you have to say about Rudy, Christian? What else do you have to say?
Yeah, yeah. Rudy's done it again, and now we get to check out a new. Well, for me, this is a newer poet,
Mm-hmm.
Reagan Myers, and depression
Yeah,
is funny like that. So
yeah. No, Reagan's good. Like depression, sexual assault. There's those like deep topics. I say deep topics. That's so vague, isn't that? Yeah, Reagan Myers have a bunch of. She's a very good poet. Actually, everyone in this list, like everyone in my list, because this is like my list that we're going through. In my eyes, are great poets. I don't want to say some poets aren't great poets. I just maybe haven't heard all poets, but the ones on this list to me are great poets.
mm,
Yeah, this is
they're
depression's
from your
like that.
curated list.
Yes, yes, a very long list. We're gonna be doing poetry for a little while actually, and then
Yeah.
we'll move on to books. Uh,
Mm,
I was thinking the other day, man, you're probably the only person. Actually, no, I think my girl would do that too. Actually, there's a very selected group of individuals who would get me to consider something I don't like. Like I've strongly voiced out my hatred is strong. Like how I don't like reading. I don't know. Like to me, it's just such a passive form, but that's just me. But at the same time, it's I can see how it's beautiful. Like illustrating something someone is saying in your head. That's kind of dope if you think about it. Not something that's
it
made on
is.
television, but your own. Like you drew this in your head. Yeah, I guess it's
Yeah,
cool.
and you can inject your own personal flair into it too. Like if
That is
characters
true.
are like talking in an apartment, you could put those characters in your apartment, and then
Uh,
it's pretty fun. And also like a lot of people, I think we yeah mentioned this before, but I'll just say it again here. A lot of people get burned by books because school, right? Like kids, they associate books with like just being in a classroom reading this really dry text,
mhm.
and then before they even cultivate the curiosity in a kid to appreciate a book, they just tell
Yeah.
them to read the book. So it's like the reading comes first, the curiosity comes second, when it should be the opposite. And I think as we grow older, if you're fortunate enough to rediscover your curiosity about like books, then you can understand like why they're so important. But the
Mhm.
curiosity thing is so crucial because curiosity leads to interest. It leads to a desire to learn, and it's like this tree that just has these branches that continually expand and grow.
Yeah. My uncle told me this. Yeah, he's like, yeah, curiosity can a lot of time be correlated with intelligence because it's your
Yeah,
mind that's stimulating to something that's unknown that you're trying to decipher or find out or just debrief. So yeah,
oh yeah,
that is pretty cool actually. No, that is true. That is true. Um, yeah, no books for sure. We're gonna get into it, and I'm partially excited. It's a new thing, Fucking, I embrace shit that's new because it's cool. Um, so yeah, let's uh let's move
Reagan
on.
Myers.
Reagan Myers, depression's funny like that. Oh wait, before we move on, yes, my voice does is not like the way I'm adapting to the theme of what this is. Like I'm not acting depressed. It's not what it is, but just out of respect for the topic and the topic, literally, yes, depression. I'm not my overly joyous and loud self, because this also hits deep when I break down these kind of poems, because they're talking about deep shit, and that's why.
Mm.
So, all right, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
This week, I sat in an AutoZone parking lot and cried for 10 minutes straight because I couldn't change a headlight. Which sounds like a lead up to a terrible stand-up routine, right? One where the joke is always on me. Like, haha, I ate half a bag of pretzel M&Ms at 11:30 in the morning in bed. Or I've watched the pilot of Gossip Girl 10 times in the past 2 weeks because I keep falling asleep halfway through because being sad is a goddamn joke sometimes. My headlight went out, my first thought was, seems right. I couldn't change it by myself because I'd have to take off the whole bumper or something. I thought, of course, or I wish I was dead. Being this kind of sad is funny that way. No inconvenience is a minor inconvenience. It's all the end of the world, or might as well be. My brain is dramatic like that. Depression is a silent film, a monologue shot underwater. Depression is sulking
Right.
because I won't talk to it anymore, by which I mean
Great. I think the first we did this, you mentioned. I'll let you go, but I guess I'll send you an assist for you to go. As in, as she's treating it like this is like funny like that, like haha. It's like those are things that are like serious, but that whole first part of the poem, she's almost like poking fun at her depression, but not
Mm.
too harsh, but just it's not comical, but it's just like, oh yeah, of course it's happening to me. Yeah, me. I guess the joke is always on me. Like my headlight, like is out, and shit. I guess I can't even fix it because I'd have to take a whole bumper out. And I thought, of course, I wish I was dead. Like I can't finish a show. Like I'm just 11:30, like in the morning. I'm still in bed. I can't get up, which what Rudy said. Like getting up, like a magic trick that he can't perform. As in, well, it is what it is. Depression is funny like that. Um, I ate a whole bag of pretzels and M&Ms. It's not light, but it's just a very subtle introduction. Not subtle, a very not too dark, light introduction to a dark topic. Like I gotta change this. Oh, great! It is what it is. And then the last sentence when I was like, "Hey, Christian, you can pause." It's like being this kind of sad is funny that way. No inconvenience is a
Mm.
minor inconvenience. It's all the end of the world, or might as well be. My brain is dramatic like that. Like any little thing is just, it's so much. It's such a big burden because you're already in this borderline like lethargic state of just can't function, can't operate. You just want to lay down somewhere. So any little inconvenience, nothing is minor. It's just no inconvenience. Something as small like as a headlight, which might not even be me to have to do it. Just take it to a mechanic and they'll do it. But it's just like, no, there's just so much shit to do. It's like,
Mm.
I thought, of course, I wish I was dead, which depression literally sometime can easily segue into suicide because this just needs to end. This feeling of worthlessness and just sadness and deep loneliness in your soul. Like make this shit end. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say for the first half.
Mm. Yeah, and I'll touch on something later that she says, but for this part, yeah, it's just to branch off what you said. It's like a filter gets put over your eyes that just any little problem gets exacerbated, no matter how small.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that filter, like it's you can't remove it when you're in this state, and it's awful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
all right, pressing play now.
about it. There are some days when I am so sad I don't remember what it's like not to be. Like when you have a bad cold and you forget how to breathe through your nose and you're so sure you'll never breathe through your nose again. And I'm so sure I will never feel joy again. Except when you have a cold, you can call in sick to work and people tell you to get well soon and there's a whole soup genre dedicated to your well-being. I can't call in sad to work. Can't go to the grocery store and go to the sad aisle, which would only have like already stale popcorn and tea your best friend swears is good for you. So sometimes All I can do is laugh. If I don't, there might be nothing left.
So this last line, she says, "Sometimes all I can do is laugh, because if I don't, there might not be anything left." So the person who I consider a mentor, his name is Ty Lopez, he said
Mm-hmm.
that no matter what's happening to you, make sure that you stay social. You don't isolate, no matter how horrible your situation is. And I think part of the reason why he said that, and also part of what Reagan is saying here, staying social is one of the best mechanisms for you to stay afloat when you're in a sea of despair. And comedy often is uh, there's a strong correlation with um, being social and being able to laugh and have a good time. So being able to laugh when you're depressed, I think, is probably one of the best things you could do. Uh, and I always admire, like, when I see in TV shows or when I see just stories of people who are like on the brink of death. There's a they could die at any moment, and yet they're able to crack a joke. They're able to, even if the joke is like out of fear, it's like, even in some of the darkest situations, if you can say something that causes somebody to laugh, there's like this tiny hint of levity that that just spawns in the moment, and that little bit of levity can do wonders for your mental state, for your ability to ground yourself in the situation. It's insane what humor can do in really dark situations.
That is
So
true. That is
yeah,
true. Yeah, and to go back to our poem real quick, right? Depression's a silent film, a monologue shot underwater. It's like a silent film already, right? There's no sound, but it's shot underwater. It's in like you're like even the voicing out, whatever it is, like nothing would come out. But if you picture underwater, you're not in your natural habitat for starters, right? Because we were as humans, we live like on land. So it's already you're panicking as a whole and you're alone in there, you're screaming and no one can hear you. It's just like loneliness that is so profound. Like knowing shit, like I'm there and just like fuck, there's no one can get to me there. It's sad, it's depressing, it's lonely. Depression is sulking because I won't talk about it anymore. Like we mentioned, like Rudy mentioned in the poem before, it's an angry deity, a jealous god. You need to be talking about me. Like you need to be. You need to be in my presence constantly. I don't want to share you with no other feelings on this planet. No one. Like she says, there's days it's like she's sad. It's it's like when you have a bad cold, you forget how to breathe, which you can literally relate to. Unfortunately, that's like hitting the nail like right in the coffin. Or
yeah,
is that what this? Yeah, that's the expression. Hitting the nail in the coffin. Hitting the coffin on the nail. I'm not
hitting
from
the
here.
nail on on the coffin. Yeah,
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So it's yes, you can't breathe through again. But then Christian, the next fucking lines, which is so painful. Except when you have a cold, you can call in sick. Like there's a whole genre of soup dedicated for colds. Chicken soup will help, but fucking okay, that's all I know. I don't know anything else. There's probably other soups. Yeah, like, but like there are things put in place to help you with a cold, but I can't. There's nothing for depression. Like I can't call in sad to work. I can't go to the grocery store and go to the sad aisle because that shit just doesn't exist. It's just so sad
mm,
how you need to get through such a dark thing any way you know how. A support group. There's got to be support groups. Yes, like your laces, your laces. Oof. Um, small tangent. I read this poem that had family as like a shoe, and like your laces being the close ones that ground you, that keep you tight. So that's why I said your laces. But yeah, like your close circle to freaking like help you go through this. Like that shit just doesn't exist, and also it's not popular to mention. Like these poets, like unfortunately, they had to bury these things into poetry because that was probably one of the best ways to release and let people know what they're going through. Some of them parents couldn't understand, which, of course, when we get to Sabrina Benayan, which her and Reagan Myers are like, when it comes to depression, they body that theme like severely. So yeah, when we get to her, she has a poem explaining my depression to my mother. which we're gonna get to. I think I saved that one for last in the depression theme because it's just that's one of the good ones. As in, yeah, you can't. Some of them, their parents don't even know about this, so they just have to put it all out in their writing, and just with the hope that people can relate and to elucidate on that problem. And the ones that are able to find people to help them, that's good. A lot of people never do. And of course, you get to the point that she says sometimes all she can do is laugh, which you already discussed. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But crazy shit, man.
Yep. All right. Pressing play now.
There's a crack in my bathtub in the shape of the Platte River, and I know this because I sit on the floor of my shower so often it's become a permanent imprint in my thigh. I'm here because I've been sad since graduation, not this one, the one before that, or maybe I have a bad cold, or maybe it's both, but the cold makes the most sense for sympathy purposes. If I get out, I have to be a person again. Have to put on clothes, put lotion on my legs, eat a bowl of cereal at least, take care of this terrible body that refuses to take care of me back. I'm so tired of talking about my depression as someone else, a ghost that haunts me, and I am afraid of the seance, afraid of what it might want from me. My depression doesn't ask for much, but when it does, it's something I cannot give, and that's the joke. It's just me asking for something I cannot give. I ask to come back to my body, and it's only me saying no. When people ask me how I am, they might as well be asking where I've gone. I'm driving down a dirt road, no headlights. When it curves, I will not know, just drive on into the field. My own voice playing on the radio telling me there is no place for me here.
All right. That's the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the end, unfortunately. So yeah, she's been in this state for so long she can't remember how long it's been. I've been sad since graduation. Like not this one, maybe the one before that, or maybe I just had a bad cold. And she said a cold would be better because it would have made sense for sympathy purposes. It's insane. I can't to keep reiterating this. I've been saying basically the same thing. How it's not normalized to discuss your depression with people. For that reason, she just said a cold would have made more sense for sympathy purposes. Because if I have a cold, people will be like, "Oh, I hope you're feeling better," which is so insane, right? Like a cold, but something that's deeper, something that's more traumatic, something that's more like internal and more fucking cancer like. It's destroying you. You can't talk about that. That's that is insane. Like even you, right? Like it wouldn't be easy for you to just like I guess I consider that we're close. At this point, we kind of are close. We have a fucking podcast.
Kind of.
Sure.
On a good
Yeah.
day.
So on a good day. Yeah. So yeah, I see how like you tell me, but that's not something you can tell anyone. And that's so fucked up. And you'd be surprised so many people that can literally resonate with what you're going through. That you know, but are not aware that they too are going through it. We need to fucking rewrite this narrative of not being able to be open about shit that's just not okay. It's it's insane. If I get out, I have to be a person again. Like Rudy mentioned, I have to fucking put on a mask, carve my fucking face like a pumpkin, and said I'm doing all right. She's saying I have to put on clothes, put lotion, I have to conform, put on my legs, the lotion on my legs, eat a bowl of cereal. This is all the getting out of bed as a drag, like Rudy was saying. Also, I hope if anyone get to listen to this, I'm not comparing these poems to say one's better than the other. I'm just constantly correlating key sentences because they're all aligned with the one theme, depression. So yeah, it's crazy shit, man. Like I'm so tired of talking about my depression and someone else, a ghost that haunts me, and I'm afraid of the seance, afraid of what it might want from me. Oh, it doesn't ask much, but when it does, it's something I cannot give, and that's the joke. That's fucking insane, man. It's like I don't like have it in me. Like it has won, I can't fight it. I can't go against it. I can't put up a fight. It's just like I'm too tired, just mentally drained. Like it's just me asking for something I cannot give, Christian. I asked to come back to my body, and it's only me saying no. The willingness to try to fight, but the inability to inability, the disability, not being the inability to do so. Is inability a word? Is
Yeah, that's
inability
a
a word,
word.
Christian?
Yeah,
And the
that's a word.
inability to do so. English is not my first language, but yeah, it's.
Mhm.
uh, and then when people ask how, when people ask me how I am, right? When Rudy said, when people ask me how I'm doing, they might as well be asking me where I've gone, Christian, because I'm not here anymore, man. I'm just a fucking shell. This shit has robbed me of my identity. This shit has robbed me of my smile, wrings it like a fucking dish rag. Dude, okay, do you think it's cool how I keep jumping in and out of those two poems?
Yeah, yeah, man. Off the record, I'm gonna cut this part out. I think the things you've been saying in this episode, I think they have been my favorite that I've heard you say overall, like
Damn.
ever. Like in the podcast, I mean, like in this podcast format.
Yeah.
Like the way that your ideas are coming out, the conciseness of a lot of it. You're doing good. You're doing really good.
Christian, for my sake, I want you to leave that in because you've never given me a compliment before, so I'll take it. I want the whole world to hear it.
Sure, sure.
Fuck, damn it. But yeah, man, it's sad, sad shit. Like I'm no longer fucking there. I'm driving down a dirt road, no headlights. When it curves, I'll not know. Just drive on into the field, my own voice playing on the radio, telling me there's no place for me there. Here, fuck. It's Jesus Christ, man. Um, I how would you? Yeah, yeah. So I have miss thoughts on this last sentence. One way is like my voice telling me there's no place for me here, as in like I might as well just end it. This life is too sad. I need to just fucking press the exit button and just get out, like die,
Mm-hmm.
suicide, kill myself. Or also my voice telling me there's no place for me here. Like, hey, this current state is not you. Like you need to get out of here. This is not you at all. You're being robbed of who you are, your personality, like what makes you you. And for that reason, you need to fight and get out of it. I don't really know which one she is trying to convey in that outro for this poem, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is something I wrestle with. Like, I don't know.
I mean, given the tone that she's carried throughout the poem and the overall bleak nature of what she's saying, I would assume it's the former, where it's more like the darker side. Like, there's no place for me here, and it feels like I need to just get out, like you said. Like, I need to just, uh,
I understand. Yeah, yeah, I get it.
yeah.
Crazy shit, man. But yeah, that's those are the first two poems. And yeah, unfortunately, literally will be that sad for the next two parts. My God, why did I do three parts for this? Jesus, depression has three parts, Christian. Fuck. All right. Ugh,
Yeah.
crazy shit.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
there's
some hard
so
stuff.
so one thing I want to end the video off on, because I know it's pretty dark. There's a quote that I heard earlier today, I think. It's by somebody called Albert Camus, Camus, and it says, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." And that was a pretty. I loved how he worded that,
What do you say?
and he said, in the depth of winter, I finally
Mm-hmm.
learned that within me there lay an invincible summer.
Ooh,
And
God damn it.
yeah, that was a crazy line to hear. And I think it fits really well with the depression. And it's something like we can end the video off on, so it's not just like, okay, leave and it's all doom and gloom. That's a
God
quote that you can
damn
carry with you. Try to
it.
cultivate
Oof.
that invincible summer.
Oh, that's resilience, Christian. That's hope. That's
That is,
fighting. That's
yeah.
oh, I like that. I'm gonna steal that. I can't steal it. I'm just gonna write it down. I collect quotes all the time. Actually, quotes that I think that are fucking worth collecting. There's a There's a quote that I heard once that said the greatest battles are fought in the silent chambers of your souls. So this
Mm-hmm.
basically can literally tie into this freaking depression state because yeah, it's so internal, yet it reflects so vivid in your face, but you gotta hide it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking society and societal norms. It's insane. Yeah, because it's something that you can't just fucking get. There are yeah, there are medication for depression. I'm assuming. I don't know actually. Right? I think I've seen in movies.
There are, but I don't think those medications are. They're just like band aids. I
Understood.
feel like
And the side
because
effects.
yeah,
Mm,
like how do you cure someone's psychological like mental state with like a pill?
yeah,
This is not.
that's insane. Yeah, no, not a shot at the medical industry, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. I second that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy shit, man. All right, we're done.
Yep.
And of course, we're not done. We will be back with Depression Part 2. I currently have Neil Hilborn, You Can't Be Depressed. Oh my goodness. And the introduction of the lovely Sabrina Benayem, The Loneliest Sweet Potato. I like that poem. It's sad, but I like how she worded it. It's very when I get to it, I'll say what it's very like. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. The Reagan Myers
Hmm.
is lovely too. Again, every time I say something, I'm like, wait, I don't want this to be misconstrued, which is so weird. I got to stop doing that because I'm normally very loose, but I understand that this might garner an audience at some point. So we want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Um,
Hmm.
all right, Christian.
All right.
Uh, it's been real. Until
Yep.
next time,
It's been real.
I'm going to sleep.
All right, dude.